Dodge has finally joined the plug-in hybrid race, and a lot of you guys haven't seemed to take notice. It's time you notice now. And welcome back to Outsider Reviews. My name is Pat, and we got Brian and Luke behind the camera. We are the Outsiders, and this is Outsider Review. So like I said, this week we've got the 2024 Dodge Hornet plug-in hybrid. So before we get into that, if you're a big fan of car reviews done in an honest way, but from the consumer side, and also done by a couple of military veterans, don't forget to like and subscribe, because that's who we are. Back to the vehicle. The main event right here, right the front area. One of the best reasons to like this vehicle is the front appearance of it, that front fascia. We've got the Rombi logo right here. That's right, they put two lines and gave it a name. It's the Rombi logo by Dodge. And everything up here is LED lights, as it should. And obviously we have a nice black vehicle today, so it's gonna go well with the black top trim package that we have on top of this RT trim. On top here, we've got some heat extractors, which makes it look even more aggressive, especially with the cutout that slides downwards here. That is what Dodge is known for, that aggressive look. So not only are you getting a compact SUV, but you're getting one with some attitude to it, which is where I think this separates it from the Alfa Romeo Tonale. We reviewed that earlier this year, so check that review out. But that was just a gas model, and this we have the RT, which is the plug-in hybrid. Moving on to the side, another indication that we have the blacktop package is we got a blacked out Hornet right here and a pair of 20-inch wheels with some bright red Brembo brakes. Underneath the hood, we've got a 1.3 liter turbocharged inline 4 cylinders that produces 288 horsepower and 383 pounds-feet of torque through a 6-speed transmission, gives you a 0-60 time in 5.6 seconds. It's actually pretty impressive. If you were to go just the regular gas one, the GT, you're looking at a 2-liter 4-cylinder engine, 268 horsepower, 295 pounds-feet of torque, powered through a 9-speed transmission. But the reason why you would go with the plug-in hybrid is fuel efficiency. So the electric only range is about 32 miles or 51 kilometers. Total range combined would be about 360 miles or 580 kilometers. The EPA estimated fuel economy is 77 mpge or 3.1 liters per 100 kilometers E. So like I said, these figures are all going to be related to the plug-in hybrid. So if we move on to the side here, we got keyless entry, so we can push a button to lock it and just stick your hand in there to unlock and open it. And over here, we've got the gas. No, we don't. We have the plug-in. So we have a 15 kilowatt size battery over here. So if you plug this into a level 2, which is equipped for, you can get a full charge in about 2 hours. Now, if you want to go level 1, that's for your folks that don't speak EV, that's just a regular outlet. It's going to take you about 12 hours. So you can see you'll be fine by plugging it in overnight, and it's going to be charged per fill, which I'd absolutely love. Come to the back here. I got a full LED light bar in the rear. Absolutely love. And this is where it tells you what trim it is in case we forgot. And you have the lit up Rombi over here. Looks absolutely great. Now, you do see how it's rounded off at the back. That's where it gets a little bit more of an Alfa Romeo vibe in the back end. But I actually kind of like it. I like the aggressiveness and the sleek in the back end. Looks pretty good. Let's take a look inside. Now, in the back, as far as cargo room, you're looking at 22.9 cubic feet. That's for the plug-in hybrid. And 50.5 cubic feet total cargo capacity, which is a lot different because the non-plug-in hybrid, so the gas one, can actually get up to 55 cubic feet of space. So that's where there's a difference. There's a difference of 5 cubic feet of space. You also have a nice European touch here that I like, that you don't see a lot in domestic brand vehicle, if you want to consider Dodge a domestic brand now. It's the pass-through. So the pass-through in the middle for long items such as skis or hockey sticks and such, that is quite a nice touch, and I find that every brand should have this. It's very convenient. Now let's go in the back seat, see how much room we got back there. Now here I am in the back seat. I am 5'9", so headroom is good. I actually still have an extra 1.5 inches of headroom. That's actually pretty good. And I do have 38 inches of leg room. Now my seat, this is my driving position, but I actually drive further back because I like to have my legs almost fully extended and just work the ankles. That's on me. But we do have 38 inches of leg room, which is, you know, about what you get with every other brand. It's not less, it's not more, it's just right. You have ventilation down here and USB-A with a USB-C, so you get 2 little outlets. Cup holders are good with a little slit in the middle for your device, and the seats are fairly comfortable. This is the Alcantara seats as well. It goes with the red accents and all, and you do have your pouch. If you do want to recline, you cannot. So it does not recline, so there's no setting for that. All in all, this is a pretty nice interior. It's a little bit on the dark side, but I find that that's something Dodge customers like. They like that blacked out look, and they like the darkness. Anyways, let's go see in the front. Now here I am in the captain seats where drivers like to be, and if you are a Dodge fan, this vehicle won't really disappoint because it's got the nice, beautiful interior that Dodge has offered, or Stellantis as a whole. You got these nice red accents here, nice stitching, but they've also simplified everything. It's nice and simple, and everything is very functional. Let me take you through it. So let's start right away with the 12-inch digital gauge cluster. It's customizable. You can customize some of the information you get on there, and otherwise, though, it's, you know, it's relatively a nice, crisp gauge that gives you all the information you need. Absolutely every information, from your battery range to your fuel range to the combination of them too. Now we take it back a little bit. We got these huge paddle shifters, which will actually help you get you an extra 30 horsepower in the power shot. And I'll talk about that during the drivability portion of it because we like to punch it when we drive. Otherwise, you got the buttons. Now, some people say this looks a little bit dated. I have no issues with it. It's hard buttons. You just press them in. You feel you pressing in, and you got your drive modes here, which will pop up on the screen, and it just gives you the electric, e-save, and then you go back to hybrid drive mode. In your e-save, you can also set it to recharge the battery. Let's say you have to bring this back to the press fleet with a full battery. Well, you can do that while you're driving. Otherwise, I would probably just keep it in hybrid mode. That's where you get the maximum effort of the vehicle, and that's where you get the maximum savings. But yeah, steering wheel, nice feel to it. Then we go back to that 10-inch screen. Now, I do find it a little bit narrow, and sometimes I think it's, I don't know, it looks a little bit dark and busy, but it does give you wireless Android Auto and Apple CarPlay. It doesn't really lag. It performs really well. Everything is straightforward as far as like choosing your settings. You just go to your vehicles and your settings are there. You got your e-hybrid settings, your performance, your controls, your settings. You don't have to look too hard to find what you need in this vehicle. And that is something that some manufacturers have seemed to have really messed up, and Dodge did a good job here. So you got your ventilation here and also your vent control, your HVAC controls here. I like that it's a toggle, push down for cool, push up for warm, and everything is just hard buttons. Absolutely love that. Now we're going to get into an area that I don't particularly like. Now, when you get to the wireless charger portion, here I am just, if I want to just drop my phone in, you'll see that it's not completely dropping in. You got that 12-volt plug here in the way, and that also comes if you want to pull it out. Another thing with this wireless charger, is when I do manage to get it on contact, often enough, it'll pop on the screen telling me that wireless charging pad is charging the phone. And then it'll go away, then it comes back. Then it goes away, and then it comes back. And I really have to mess with the phone to try to line it up perfectly. Perhaps this is a problem with my tester, or perhaps this is something that's ongoing. You guys comment if you are Dodge Hornet owners and that's an issue with yours as well. We'd love to know. But if you line it up okay, it should be all right. But, it shouldn't be the case. You also have USB-A and USB-C here. But if you plug it in and you have a cord sticking out, then you're even more going to have an issue with putting it flat on the surface. So this is where that becomes an issue. We have your start stop here. You got your sport mode, where you go sports mode and you activate power boost, and then you can go really, really fast. Down to the shifter, you got your traditional shifter. Just press in, switch gears, pretty straightforward. As far as reverse cameras over here, you have tons of views, and you can just switch to them from these angles. I like how crisp the image is. I think that Stellantis or Jeep, Dodge, Ram, and General Motors have some of the best images in that department. Volume control here is just a wheel. You just go up and down. You press for muting. I absolutely like that. And then you have your parking brake down here. Your parking assist buttons over here. And you have your cup holders, which fit a large or a big gulp bottle. So big fan of that. Now, when you're going to talk about the rest of the interior, again, definitely a premium feel everywhere. It's a little, nice stitching. It just looked like quality. On the seats itself, I got my nice little Rombi logo here, just like we do in the front fascia. And then you got the Alcantara seats with the red accent. Definitely looks and feels premium, and it definitely stands out and gives you that traditional dark Dodge muscular feel to it, and I definitely like it. As far as the seat comfort, I mean, as a person that's 250 pounds, so a little bit on the wide side, I do feel a little bit of the tight bolstering on the sides here, but otherwise I'm still pretty comfortable. I've driven this for already 400 kilometers and I've had no issues with it. And last but not least, we have a sunroof or moonroof, but I mean, they call it sunroof. It's just not quite panoramic. So that's looking all nice. We're all ready to go cruising. So let's go and drive this thing. Here we are on board. All right, let's activate the power shot. Power shot is a feature that if I pull back on these two paddles, and there we go. It gives me an extra 30 horsepower. Here we go. 0 to 60. Yeah, I'm utterly impressed. I'm utterly impressed, not with the fact that this is a standard all-wheel drive plug-in hybrid, but the power. We're talking about 383 pounds-feet of torque, 288 horsepower, and 0 to 60 time in 5.6 seconds. Absolutely, that's what I'm talking about. And I like the sound that comes from it as well. It's like a little bit of a rumble. It's a classic Dodge sounding vehicle, even though some might argue that not a classic Dodge vehicle as a whole. It's not a muscle car. It's a plug-in hybrid. It saves you on fuel economy. Speaking of fuel economy, 2 liters E per 100 kilometers, or 77 mpge. What does that translate to? So the reason why I'm sighing is because when I picked it up, I did some highway driving and such. And obviously once you do it, like I did a 300 kilometer drive, your battery is depleted. So one thing I'm gonna say it is a bit of a negative is that I can't fast charge this plug-in hybrids. Some plug-in hybrids, like the Mitsubishi Outlander plug-in hybrid that we had, you can stop at fast chargers, some CHAdeMOs, and plug it in and charge it and fast charge it. And that gives you, if you stop for like a quick 15-minute break, 20-minute break, and then you got a fully charged battery. But this is only either level 2 or level 1. So there's no fast charging involved here. So that is a bit of a negative side of it for that long road trip. So I did the long road trip, and after the 50 kilometers of range, then you're driving around with a heavier vehicle. How much heavier? I think it's about 450 pounds heavier than the internal combustion engine model. So, you know, it is going to affect on your fuel economy. But my fuel economy was about 5.5 liters per 100 kilometers for the roughly, we did 500 kilometers of driving so far this week with it. And that's after the initial day of the long drive. I was plugging it in every night. So every morning you wake up, you get a fully charged battery, you have 51, 52 kilometers of range or 32 miles of range. Good to go, right? So that's where your fuel economy savings are going to be. As far as overall handling, I talked about the acceleration. I talked about the peppiness of this vehicle. It definitely has got some get up and go. That is definitely not a concern for this vehicle. And as far as plug-in hybrid vehicles, and words are difficult, but plug-in hybrid vehicles, this is the one that's going to fulfill that need to want to go fast and want to drive aggressively within the confines of the law, of course. But it's, you know, that's the one that's going to fulfill. That's going to be the biggest pro in my conclusion. It's going to be the drivability of it. I do find that the suspension could be a little bit more tuned, in the sense of a little bit more responsive, a little bit more engaging. I find it to be a little bit on the loose side. That's just my personal preference of it. I'd like it to be a little bit more, you know, it's definitely a comfortable suspension. It absorbs the shocks well. But I like a firmer suspension when I want to drive fast. But that's not for everybody. If you want to use this as a family vehicle, then yeah. One thing I forgot to mention when we were back there looking at the back end is this vehicle is capable of towing 2,000 pounds, which is not too bad. I mean, it's not going to be able to tow that much, but that's the towing capability. And it's basically on par with what the other plug-in hybrids. Because like I said, internal combustion might be able to tow like 2,500 pounds, but I mean, this has an extra 450 pounds of weight as it is with the batteries. So yeah. As far as taking curves, driving through the mountainside and all that stuff, this has no problem taking some tight curves like I'm doing right now. Good grip, good contact patch, and very little body roll. There's some. It's a compact SUV, not a sports car. But, you know, you wouldn't be able to tell by the get up and go that this car has that it's not a sports car. Let's just pass this guy here. Just like that. How sweet it is. As far as the sound inside here, well, I can tell you with that 14 speaker upgrade, it sounds great. But no, if we're talking about overall road noise, it is a tad louder than other vehicles I've tested. It does have a little bit of that road noise that you're not going to be a fan of, but maybe that's why we have that 14 speaker upgrade. Is to drown out that road noise. But yeah, so there is some road noise involved. Now let's talk a little bit about what this is going to cost you and what competes with this vehicle. So where does it stand price-wise and competition-wise? Well, because I can only focus on one thing at a time, let's start with the price. In Canada, this will actually start at $48,000 and can go to $54,000 depending on the trim you're taking. So you got your RT and your RT Plus. But from there, you can have the blacktop package and a couple other technology packages and such on. You could easily find yourself with this one fully equipped at a price tag around $58,000. So that adds up very quickly. For my friends in the South, in the States, it starts at $42,000, goes all the way up to $45,000. But again, if you want this, you're going to find yourself closer to $52,000. One thing I got to say, though, that's better than most is These haven't gained that much popularity right now, along with the big crave for plug-in hybrids. So there's some negotiations to be had, and actually there's some deals to be had, unlike some of the competitors that I'm going to mention right now. I'm talking about the most popular one. Have you guessed it? Yes, the Toyota RAV4 Prime. That is the one that's more sought after. So what's the difference between the Prime and this? Well, the Prime has more cargo space. It has definitely a lot more electric range than this vehicle. I think it's more around like 77 kilometers of all electric range. So we're talking quite a bit. However, I would argue that it doesn't look as good as this one, and it's definitely not as performing, and it comes at a higher price tag, if you believe that. Another one is the high-end Tucson. So I went from high price tag to maybe a low price tag. It starts roughly around the same price as this one. Again, believe it or not. But what does it offer you? It offers you more cargo space, but the all-electric range is similarly, like maybe a couple of kilometers more than this one. This one, the Hornet, is way more performant and way more engaging of a ride. So that's the difference, which is gonna bring me to my pros and cons. Let's start with my pros, because I'm an optimist kind of guy. Optimistic. Right away, right here. Look at that face, which something people never say about me. But look at that aesthetically pleasing looking compact SUV. That's a plug-in hybrid. I argue that a lot of the plug-in hybrids I see out there are a little bit boring as far as they look, you know, aesthetically. They're not as aesthetically pleasing. This captures attention. The interior as well, very pleasing. And the red accents, well done. Great touch. Another good pro is what's underneath here. Well, maybe also a little bit in the back since it's got a battery back there. But we're talking about power output. 383 pounds-feet of torque. 288 horsepower. 0 to 60 in 5.6 seconds. Are you kidding me? This is fun to drive. It's got nice handling, nice looking, fun to drive. All-wheel drive to boot. All-wheel drive, standard all-wheel drive from the beginning. Which is one of the biggest cons I had when I reviewed the Ford Escape plug-in hybrid. That one doesn't even come in all-wheel drive. That was one of my biggest cons for that vehicle. This one comes standard. Now, let's go into the cons of it. There are some. There's no vehicle that's perfect. Let's put it that way. The all-electric range, not as good as some of the competitors. I think if they were to bring it up a little bit, that would do them a lot of favors. And I also think that the price may be a little bit heavy, because when you add the package to have the nice looking blacktop package and all that stuff, it does get pretty pricey. But here I am in my conclusion. I'm going to use that a little bit as a pro, because of these are not as popular as the RAV4 Prime and such. So you have them readily available on the lot. There are deals to be had with this vehicle. Dodge is well aware that they're not flying off the shelf. So this is where you guys now have the pricing power, the negotiation power, which is outside reviews. Not only do we do car reviews, but we like to advise you guys on when you can get a better deal and which vehicles can get a better deal. I think this can end up ultimately being the best deal you can have for a plug-in hybrid. But it's all going to come back to you guys. What do you guys think as a consumer? Do you see yourself in this vehicle if you're looking for a plug-in hybrid? I can tell you that for me, yes, I absolutely see myself in this vehicle, because it is lean, it is mean, it is fast, and that's everything that I love about a vehicle, let alone a compact SUV. Sure, it doesn't have that much cargo. That just means I have to lug less stuff when I go on vacation. Heck, that means I have to carry less stuff. I'm happy with that. That's quite okay. But in all seriousness, comment below. We want to hear your thoughts on this vehicle. We also want you guys, since you've been watching the whole video, we're at the end here. What are you doing? You haven't clicked like or subscribe yet? What are you waiting for? This video is like 20 minutes long. Let's go. Click it. Like, subscribe, support this military veteran channel, because we need it, we want it, and we want to keep doing more vehicles like these and other brands. So until then, Brian and I are going to sign off. Video. Is the Hornet the best kept secret, or is it best to keep it a secret? I can't say that, Brian.
Yeah.
So I guess all there's to film now is my comparison. Do I see myself driving this vehicle? Absolutely 100%. It is fast, it is performance, and guess what? Not a lot of plug-in hybrids are fast and performance and can drive very well. I mean, Brian, you would know about that, right? What am I getting at? I'm getting at you drive a Nero hybrid.
I drive my wife's Nero hybrid.
I'm sorry, your wife's Nero hybrid. I guess we're not gonna keep